address to emergency?
Yeah, 892 East.
What's the problem? Tell me what's happened.
I had my husband go make me some food downstairs. He just got home. I heard this big bang. I went downstairs, blood everywhere. I don't know if he's okay. I'm not down there right now because I have seizures. If I get shut down.
In 1978, Gary Coleman became the biggest child star in America. Despite his short stature, he had a personality and a presence that commanded the room. Gary was best known for his role of Arnold Jackson on the NBC sitcom Different Strokes. But when the show was canceled, Gary struggled with his transition from a child star to an adult actor. In 1986, the sun set on Different Strokes for the last time. The sitcom had lost favor with American audiences. Even a move from NBC to ABC couldn't bolster the falling ratings. The show had run its course, and Gary spent the rest of the 1980s in relative obscurity. The 1990s saw Gary Coleman guest starring on numerous TV shows, often parodying himself or his famous role of Arnold Jackson. He worked a variety of jobs, including mall security, a clerk at Blockbuster Video, and later, a gubernatorial candidate in the state of California. Though he finished the election with over 14,000 votes, he ultimately lost to Arnold Schwarzenegger. After his brief flirtation with politics, Gary packed up and headed to Utah, where he would spend the rest of his days. In the wake of Gary's passing, the media descended on Utah and on Shannon Price, Gary's widow. In the fall of 2019, Daniel Zubiate sat down with Shannon to discuss the Gary she knew.
I met Gary while he was in Salt Lake filming a movie called Church Ball. And I was trying to be an extra, so I was standing at the door waiting for the extra lady to come out. And instead, Gary walked out the door and he just said, if anyone says anything, just say Gary Coleman sent you. At this point, I had no clue who he was. I never knew how famous he was. As I walked in there and sat up to my position, he finally worked his way up there and asked me for my phone number. And I was like, absolutely. I was working at the airport at the time, the Salt Lake airport. I was 19 when I met him. And he had called me that night and asked me what time I got off work. And I told him 10 o'clock. And so he said, I will meet you there when you get off work. I will be in a white van because that's all they had to rent. And so when I got off work, I went down there to meet him. And he actually brought me Olive Garden takeout. And then we had gone to the hotel he was staying at. And then we just kind of got to know each other. I spent the night there and then went back to the movie set with him that morning.
Here we go. Wait, man. Go. All right, go. Sorry, Charlie, I'll rethink that play. Go get some ice from the kitchen, quick.
Gary did explain to me a little bit about show business just so that I was prepared, what I should know, not know, how the people are. But I ultimately think that he was happy in Utah because he was away from all of that. He didn't want to be anywhere near Hollywood, and that's what he liked about me the most, is he said, I want to be with someone that is nowhere near Hollywood and has nothing to do with it. I believe that he was really happy here. We lived out in the country, so it was really great for him to just be a hermit the way he wanted to be. I truly believe that moving to Utah was fantastic for him. He loved it. He actually told me that he moved here for me because he fell in love with me for me, and I was far away from Hollywood. And he was really happy about that because he wanted to be far away from Hollywood. He didn't want to live in California. He didn't want to be around that scene. He just kind of wanted to just be himself the way he wanted to without feeling like he was tied down. He never really had a solid relationship back in California, and it was just kind of up and down with different women, but he knew how to treat women, and he wasn't afraid to share the world. I mean, I never knew the celebrity lifestyle, so for that felt really good to me. Oh my goodness. Okay, so what did he like least? I would probably honestly say when people would come to our house and just sit in our driveway, just, stuff like that, or when we were out to dinner and people would come up when we would be eating and try and get a picture, and I think that really kind of set him off a little bit. We would go out in public and people would just antagonize him. As far as the media goes, he didn't like that because they made him out to be the person that he wasn't. When he would go do a job, they would sit there and interrogate him like he was a criminal until he finally just blew up. We all suffer from different sorts of anger, and for him it was really hard because he was sick a lot. And so to mellow that out was a really hard thing for him to deal with because he didn't know how to deal with it the proper way. Gary absolutely loved food, period. He was a food junkie. He really loved Italian food. After we got married in Vegas, we went to the Celine Dion concert, and then we went to Rayo's before the concert. He loved every type of food, probably not sushi or anything like that. I have no idea. But we would go to Cracker Barrel. We really loved it there. But generally, he loved food of all kinds. People, I believe, would be super surprised about the fact that we loved watching Law & Order SVU, Dog the Bounty Hunter, Cops. By far, you want to know who his favorite actor is? Denzel Washington. He always told me how blessed he was, and if Gary could have a career like that, he would be basically over the moon and super thrilled. Gary really loved trains. He loved model trains. Him and I would go watch the Amtrak trains, and we were actually going to go on a ride before he passed away to Colorado and back, and that never happened. He was just an all-around fun guy. We used to jam to music and dance in the car, and people thought we were absolutely crazy, but we had a good time. And that's what people need to know about Gary, is that he was a simple guy. He really was a simple guy, and his life was only as complicated as he wanted it to be. He lived life like it was his last day, and he just wanted to seek adventure and do new things. And as long as he was with me, I felt like he was on top of the world. I feel like I made a difference in his life, and so I gave him the fuel to his fire to want to do stuff, to want to go out there, to want to be a better person and just be happier.
That promote mutual respect, honor, and satisfaction. In other words, love says, I can't win, not if it means you lose. And when the story of your life is told, I hope that your love defines the highest, most sacred achievement in human relationship, and that's a marriage. Shannon, here's your flowers. I want you to hold both hands, turn and face each other, look into each other's eyes.
So beautiful. I couldn't have wrote it better myself.
Shannon, Gary, you both stand here inviting your best friend to share.
For me, the thing that we most disagreed about is probably when he went out of town to work on jobs. That was really hard for me because I wasn't able to go with him sometimes. I honestly didn't like being alone just because of weird random people stopping by the house. As far as money, I believe that everyone struggles with money. I mean, we can't lie about that. And, you know, when Gary wasn't getting a lot of work and stuff, I think that he felt like I was either hard on him or he was more hard on himself. Gary, be nice.
I can't be nice because they're cheapskates. You know, oh, we love you, we love you, we love you. You're Gary Coleman, you're my idol. Oh, I don't want to pay you. I'm so sick of that.
And so maybe we kind of clashed a little bit with that regard. But otherwise, we really didn't have too many disagreements as far as being an actual married couple. I was just young and stupid and decided to divorce him on my own because of a film that he did at Mark Cuban's house for a month and a half in Texas. And he would call me every day and be like, this is your fault. And I kind of just had my wits end and I was done. Gary really didn't want the divorce. And I was just young and dumb and made the decision out of, I wasn't thinking, obviously, and even to this day, I regret every second of it. My decision to stay with Gary was, yes, I was young and I made an irrational decision to divorce him, which I regret. I have never known love or that kind of love until Gary came into my life. I never knew true love, true real love, and he gave me everything I needed, everything I wanted, and I will never forget that, and I will never forget the impact that he put on my life. And he taught me personally so much. I had to be more patient with him. I had to learn that just because of his health issues and what kidney disease really is about and what it affects.
Hi, I'm Gary Coleman, and I've got a little quiz for you. When you give to the National Kidney Foundation, do you fight all forms of kidney disease? Check. Do you support research? Check. Do you support public and professional education? Check. And does our National Kidney Foundation need our help? Check. And please, make it a big one.
Let's see, I just see emergency.
Yeah, 892 East.
What's the problem? Tell me what's happened.
The 911 call that day that Gary fell obviously was traumatizing and traumatic for me, and I obviously didn't know how to handle it in the way people thought I should have, but I have never experienced this as bad as it was. When people thought that I didn't help Gary, I was indeed helping Gary, and I did get him a towel. And I actually had a seizure a month before he passed away. I was really sick. I was bedridden. When he came home from dialysis that day, I could tell he was really weary, really tired. He was quick to put his oxygen tank on, his cannula on. And I asked him, I said, do you mind going downstairs and putting some pizza rolls in the microwave for me? And I said, if you don't feel up to it, it's okay. I can go do it in like an hour or so. And of course, he's like Papa Bear. I mean, he really loved me, and I don't know any other way to explain that. And I'm obviously not going to say Mama Bear because he's not female. So, that love came into play, and he was like, it's fine. I can totally go down there. And at the time, I was actually diagnosed with an inner ear problem. So I was really sick in bed. As he went down there, I had just a bad feeling. He wasn't feeling well. And I was like, are you sure that you feel good enough to go down there and make put those pizza rolls in the microwave. And he said, yeah, I'm fine. And he got halfway downstairs and was like, are you sure? You can come back up. I know that you don't feel well. You just had dialysis. It was a Wednesday. And so he had gone downstairs and I was in bed, just laying there, feeling miserable, feeling awful, feeling just helpless, like I couldn't do anything for myself. And that's the worst feeling that anyone could go through. And then all of a sudden I just hear this. It sounded like pots and pans had just fallen. Like he just got them from the stove or whatever and they just fell. And what I did is I said Gary 3 times and he didn't answer me. And that's when I knew something was completely wrong. I jumped out of bed, went downstairs, and he was lying there in a pool of blood. I can't tell you if he had a seizure. I can't tell you if he passed out. I don't exactly know what happened. And from then on, I felt super helpless. I cried. And that's when the 911 call came into play. And by that time, Gary was actually sitting up. And what a lot of people don't know or are aware of is that Gary was lucid enough to walk to the ambulance. He walked to the ambulance himself. He went to the hospital and there was some time that had gone by and I had called. I honestly didn't know the extent of the accident. I just knew that he had bleeding in his brain and I wanted to make sure that he had made it there because he had been in the hospital so many times and I just thought it was a normal routine for him and I thought he was going to be okay. Stitch him up, come home, it's all good. That did not happen. So that's when I asked him if he needed anything, how was he feeling? And he just said, I have a really bad migraine. And I said, do you want me to bring you McDonald's, any fast food? What do you want? He said, I don't want anything, but I do love you. Thursday was the next day, and I got this horrific phone call, obviously one that nobody wants to get. And the lady simply said, does Gary have a DNR? And I said, resuscitate him. So what happened is they were taking him to dialysis, and he went into cardiac arrest. What most people don't know about that is he actually had major heart surgery in 2009. And they said he wouldn't live a year. And he did make it 6 months. He told me he loved me. And the next day, Thursday, like I'd said, he went into cardiac arrest. I said, resuscitate him. I tried to save his life. I did everything I could. I was on his healthcare directive. And so with that being said as well, my dad and I had gone there that afternoon, and he was already gone. That was really traumatizing to me to have to go through that and see that this was really real. When they announced that Gary was officially gone, I had to be wheeled out in a wheelchair with a sheet covering me because there was so much press. And when I had gone back home to grab some things, there was a paparazzi outside waiting for me. That was the worst thing I could go through because people just don't understand at a sensitive time like that how hard it really is to go through. I was so distraught. I didn't want to be seen. I just wanted to crawl under a rock. And so that was just an invasion of privacy. And it was just really hard. 2 days after he passed away, I actually had a really peaceful feeling. And it was coming from him because I know that he was telling me it's going to be okay. I love you. It's going to be fine. But after that, I wanted to die. I felt like there was no part of me inside to live anymore because I just lost the love of my life. I believe that the media was definitely unfair. They didn't know the truth about Gary's personal life, let alone my life. And the fact that I did not grow up in Hollywood, and the fact that I did not grow up with money. I just think that, if people could listen a little bit better to understand what other people are going through instead of automatically attacking them. I don't have any harsh feelings towards anyone now. I don't have any harsh feelings towards the media. I just think that somehow they get twisted up in something that is not the truth. And I didn't feel like they had any compassion towards or sensitivity towards what I had just gone through. And the fact that I didn't know how famous Gary was until he passed away. I had no clue. I had no idea. And I had no idea that the media would come out like this and not understand completely how or what I went through. And not only that, but for the fact that I'm a human being as well. And I do have feelings. And I do matter. And for the fact that they wanted a simple headline did upset me at the time because I didn't understand why. I believe now Gary has found the peace that he deserves now. But looking back, I don't believe that he ever had any kind of peace in his life just because everybody wanted a piece of the pie. Everybody was surrounding him for money. All they cared about was themselves. They didn't really care about Gary's well-being at all. And for the fact that he had put his trust in me for all the years that I did know him and we did have fun until his death really meant a lot to me. It was really hard for me to understand and cope with the fact that he was used really bad. Gary also told me as well that he felt he had saved NBC from going off the air, that he was such a hot commodity, like everybody loved him and everyone was so attracted to his humor and he was just so amazing and he had a natural gift to make people laugh. I remember a few times people would come up to us on the street and they would shake his hand and they said, Gary, when I had a bad day, I was watching you. You made me laugh. When I was in the hospital and sick, I watched your show. You made me laugh. Thank you so much for all the entertainment you had given everybody over the years. Thank you. That's when I really knew that people really loved him. And I miss living that normal life that I had with him instead of what other people didn't know.
Well, of course I'm a hoopster. I love basketball. Spud Webb was my man.
All right.
Manute Bol.
He put his pants on the same way all of us do. And I truly believe that people need to see that he was a person, he had a good heart. He had a full heart of gold and he would do anything. He would take the shirt off his back for anybody. It didn't matter. He was a very good man and he had amazing morals and standards, and that's what I really loved about him the most, is that he treated me with the most utmost respect. He treated me with the utmost respect that I had ever been treated with. And that meant so much to me because he was so proud to just flaunt me off to everybody. And here I am vulnerable.
This is Shannon. S-H-A-N-N-O-N. You can spell it right.
The glory of that, But he didn't care. He loved me for me. And that's what I miss about him the most. I miss his laugh. I think about him all the time. How life would be if he was still alive and healthy. He gave me so much. And There were times where I had to stand back and go, what did I do to deserve this? And I'm very humbled for the fact that he just loved me, and I soaked it up because he was famous. And famous or not, I just felt very, very grateful to have been a part of his life.
Hi Shannon, my name is Neil Antonio, and one thing I would like to know is, what was life like for you after Gary Coleman left us?
My life after Gary Coleman left me was a complete nightmare. My heart was so broken without him, and a lot of people think that, I've moved on now. I haven't necessarily moved on, but I am remarried and I do have kids, but I still miss him terribly.
Hi, my name is Cademan, and I always wondered if Gary enjoyed his TV acting the most, or if there was some other type of acting like theater or something like that he would enjoy more.
My answer to that question would be television. He never really got into the theater scene, so television was mainly his gig.
Hi Shannon, name's Daniel. I was just curious if after watching Different Strokes, did you ever think, I'm going to marry the main star of the show? It's kind of cool.
That was kind of corny, but I'm going to answer you. I had no clue who Gary Coleman was. I never watched TV as a kid. I was a tomboy growing up, and I legit, honestly, never knew who that guy was, ever. And when I met him, my nickname for him was Shorty because I'm so bad at names. And so that's what I remember him by when I first met him. But yeah, no, I never ever saw Different Strokes until after I met him.
Hi Shannon, my name is Erik. I'm a big fan of Gary's. He's actually 1 month older than I am. And if I were to pose a question to Gary, it'd be, what made him happy?
Oh, that's a really good one. What made Gary happy? I mean, pretty much the simple things in life were happy to him. Going for a ride was happy for him. Going to a restaurant, having good food, he was happy. He was happy to be around family and friends. I would be lying if I didn't say we didn't have up and downs in our marriage, even when we were divorced. I mean, we both realized that we needed to be together. And we did have some troubled times. And, it's really hard for me to deal with the fact that people portrayed it worse than what it really was. I just want to set the record straight that it wasn't that bad. Marriages aren't perfect. And people say, that we were never able to consummate our marriage. It's fine. He loved me in so many other ways because I had the real Gary. I had the real deal. And for people that missed out on that, I'm very sorry. Because he was an amazing human being. I'm very, very grateful for what I have now. And I'm super thrilled to share this story with everybody and my heart and my feelings and what people need to know about Gary.